Namaste, Jai Bharat. If you talk about religions, there are seven major religions in the entire world. I'm telling about major religions, major, non, so-called established religions in the world, seven. Three outside Bharat and four from Bharat, within Bharat. Now, these religions have their own distinct concepts, but if you look at them, at their fundamental concepts, you can see something like a concept of God, common, supposed to be common to all, which is not the case in Bharatiya religions in reality, strictly speaking, but they are concepts of God. Then sometimes it's concept of suffering and also concept of salvation, as it is told in the European Semitic tradition. We have a concept of Moksha in Bharat. Moksha is a word for both Hindus and Sikhs. Kaivalya is a concept, the word, the term used for Jains, and Nirvana is the term used for Buddhism. For Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the concept is relatively same, though the name varies. Atonement for the Jews, salvation for Christians, etc. Now, there are some fundamental differences between the basic concept of moksha, which of course is roughly translated into English as liberation in Bharat, and salvation in Semitic traditions. What is the concept of salvation? How to attain salvation? To attain salvation, or to get salvation, and what is after salvation? All these things vary. They vary drastically in Semitic traditions and Bharatiya Dharma Parampara. For us in Bharat, these are not religions per se, though the name is used without seriously meaning that religion and this religion have many things in common, without seriously meaning, but for want of another term. But then there are drastically two different ways of looking at the transcendental. That's the concept of religion and concept of dharma, they drastically vary. Nonetheless, practically we all use the word religion. So, how to get salvation in Semitic traditions? That's a very simple and straightforward pattern of getting salvation. Be with the God. Follow what had been taught. Follow the instructions. Keep attending the services to God, etc., etc., etc. Of course, you're supposed to get salvation. And of course, they all have a common concept of day of judgment. And on the day of judgment, the God Himself comes and makes judgment upon you, whether to send you to hell or heaven, and etc. It's a very simple concept. There is no confusion. There is no complication. But of course, ironically, if you ask the theologian about the day of judgment, if you ask, has it ever happened, he has to say no, it has not yet happened. So then what happened to the people who died till now is a question which he has to answer, not me. That question can be asked, sensibly questioned. But then there can be all kinds of explanations. So for instance, some of the jihadi outfits in the Islam, they teach the jihadis that you don't have to wait for a day of judgment to go to Jannat. You don't have to wait for a day of judgment, because if you are a jihadi, you can instantly go there. That kind of things are taught, but these are obviously subsequent additions to practical religious movements, etc. So when it comes to Bharat, in Sanatana Dharma, what is moksha? That is not going to heaven. There is no question of heaven for us. In Sanatana Dharma, there is a concept of heaven, Swarga we call, but then that's not a place for man to go and relax after death, to enjoy promised rewards, And then the hell, Naraka, is not a place where we go and get punished for your misdeeds during your lifetime on the earth. The concept of heaven and hell is drastically different in the sense that heaven is a place for the deities who are supposed to live. Devta, Devi, they are supposed to live. And hell is a place because it's hell because there is absolute lawlessness. For adharmis, those who don't follow dharma, they all live in hell. Why hell is hell? Because of the lawlessness, because of adharma. Common human being cannot live. See, even for us, you can't imagine of living in a society without any law. See, lawless society is real hell. Maybe there are societies in the world where the monarchs or some kind of other rules exist. So those who don't follow them, for their from life itself is hell anyway. So let's see how moksha can be obtained or attained. Fundamentally, salvation is granted, given, and moksha is attained. The moment we say salvation is given, then who is the giver? The giver is a creator. They call it as God, whatever name may be, Jehovah or Allah, whatever the name may be. For Christians, Christ is practically God, but then ultimately the Father of the God is the real God, that is Jehovah, which the Jews practice, pray directly. So for them, the Creator is a capital G God, and the capital G God grants salvation. So when it comes to Islam, they say it's only through the rahmat of God that you are taken up, and this for in His infinite mercy, God grants you salvation, all kinds of things. The mercy is an essential element in getting salvation. But when it comes to Hindus, Sanatana Dharma, no one is there to give you moksha. Moksha is not going to heaven. Moksha is actually going back to back to a situation which is akin to before your birth. What were you before birth? You will have to be. You will get back to that position. And to get back to that position, you must have cleaned good actions, etc. All these things are done. So moksha in Sanatana Dharma is to become one with the ultimately real. We don't have a concept of God in that sense. So all the gods what we speak in Bharat, they are small g gods, not capital G God. They are deities. They have nothing to do with this kind of moksha. But moksha is what you earn, attain. No one can deny it once you earn it. And you become one with the ultimately real. We believe that you join this Vishnupada or something like that, or Kaivalya. So this is practically people think of. But ultimately, you become one with the ultimate reality, that is moksha. And how to attain moksha? There are multiple methods. There are multiple methods. You can pick what you fits you. You can choose what fits you. If, one is jnana, knowledge can liberate you. Moksha is translated in English as meaningfully liberation, liberating from this earthly bondage, earthly existence of birth. Then if not cleansed through a life, then rebirth, then death, then that kind of a circularity. So, if you know, through knowledge you can liberate yourselves. Then through devotion you can liberate yourselves, bhakti. Then through your action, that is selfless action, that's kama karma, you can liberate yourselves. Through yoga, you can liberate yourselves. And all kinds of things. In Tantra, you can liberate yourselves. There are multiple methods. Whichever suits you, whichever is fitting you, you can adopt. It's something like whichever deity is suiting you, you go according to that deity, pray according to that deity in Bhakti Marga. Then there are multiple ways. Not only in the multiple ways, you can also find out your own, if possible, if you are capable, you can also find out your own methods to get liberation. That's one thing. Then Jainism, there's no concept of God in Jainism explicitly. You become like Tathagata, so that's Kaivalya. They don't talk about a life after death. Same Buddhism. Buddhists also don't talk about God, though they talk about soul, and then they justify that they talk about the rebirth, but not about soul. They don't speak about both God and soul, but they justify rebirth through a theory of dependent origination, praditya samutpada. So there also you aspire to be like Tathagata status. That's a difference between the salvation kind of question in terms of Semitic tradition, and Moksha in Hindu Dharma, Kaivalya in Jainism, and Nirvana in Buddhism, and again Moksha only in Sikh Dharma. So this fundamental difference is there, and these differences patterns your Sanskriti, patterns your culture, patterns your attitude towards small g God in Bharat and capital G God in Semitic traditions. How you look at God. For us, God is friend. We don't we use the word like Sakha. That's friend. So this is it. There are such differences, and these differences make a lot of difference in human lives in these two traditions and social existence in these two traditions, and as well as the Sanskriti of the, the religious frames, so-called dharmic frames. Dharma, of course, is something which governs one internally and intensely. We meet again with some other thing. Until then, Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.